What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guardians of all ages? Joker back again, once again, and today we're going to talk about Anthem. Diversify the channel a little bit. You know, about as diverse as talking about one open looter world shooter thingy with RPG elements can be, as opposed to talking about another open world looter shooter RPG with elements of bits can be. Yeah, it's going to be one of those videos, isn't it? So, lo and behold, surprise to absolutely no one, I am worried about Anthem. Why am I worried about Anthem, I hear you say with your suspicious implying voices? Well, because, I mean, let's be honest. EA.
I've been to the motherfucking mountaintop. Heard motherfuckers talk, seen them drop. If I ain't got a weapon, I'ma pick up a rock. And when I bust your ass, I'm
Horrible credit jokes aside, people old and new to my channel might be wondering if I've got so many negative things to say about Destiny 2, why do I keep covering it? Play something else. Cover something else. When's that Warframe video coming out? So, at the time of writing this video, and probably at the time of viewing this video, Destiny 2 is the best-selling game of 2017. Though the player population wouldn't really reflect that, now would it? Oh wait, I can't check. Destiny Tracker took it down. So you're probably trying to figure out, okay Joker, this video started out as a video about Anthem. I see Anthem gameplay on the screen, but here you are talking about Destiny 2 yet again. So let me ask you this. What do you think a boardroom full of suits is going to care about? Do you think they're going to care about how fast the player population dipped off? Or how much money was made at the time of release? Given EA's track record, I'm going to go with the money. Destiny 2 being the king of the castle means everybody's going to fall in line. I call it the Call of Duty effect. When something like Call of Duty or Skylanders or Guitar Hero becomes popular, publishers tend to oversaturate the market with clones of diminishing value. And hey, yeah, sometimes we get lucky enough to get a Spec Ops: The Line out of the modern military shooter genre. But more often than not, we get Homefront. Now, gaming in general seems to be moving towards this games as a service model, where they launch a base game and then they update that game over years. This is what Destiny did. And companies are realizing that instead of a new full game every year, they can instead do one base game and support it with DLC and updates. There's nothing wrong with that model. World of Warcraft has been doing it for over a decade. But if publishers and developers follow Bungie's example, we are in for a lot of base games that are just kind of okay, maybe, kind of, sort of, if you turn your head to the left and squint and, you know, wait for the DLC, because of course it's not done yet and it's just a beta, or whatever the kids are excusing these days with now, maybe. You know, until the entire model inevitably crashes and burns and dies like Call of Duty did, becoming a parody of itself. So, with Bungie blazing this brave new trail, it's imperative to be critical of them. And we all know Anthem is EA's answer to Destiny. And EA, well, EA is one of the most hit-and-miss publishers I think I have ever seen in gaming, with BioWare being one of the most hit-and-miss developers I've ever seen in gaming, especially over the last few years since Mass Effect 3. On a quick side note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, Mass Effect 3 was a great game for 99.9% of the game, with one of the worst endings I think I have ever seen in all of fiction. If Bungie got even a quarter of that backlash, we would have a fixed game by the end of 2017. I imagine the same would hold true for most games. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Anyways, EA has a pretty spotty track record, and BioWare's isn't much better. Anthem does have the benefit of being designed by the team that created the Mass Effect franchise, one of the greatest sci-fi franchises in gaming, so they do have that going for them, but they also have EA going against them. In an article on GameSpot called "Somebody Spent $15,000, yes, $15,000 on Mass Effect multiplayer cards link in the description below. The article states, in a recent podcast on Waypoint, Manveer Hare, who was a designer at BioWare for 7 years and worked on both Mass Effect 3 and Mass Effect Andromeda, discussed the EA shift away from single-player experiences to more open and shared world titles like the upcoming Star Wars Battlefront 2. Hare says, the reason for this is because the publisher can monetize those kinds of games better. It's also the reason that card packs were introduced into Mass Effect 3's multiplayer. The words that were used in there are, have them come back again and again, Hare says. Why do you care about that at EA? The reason you care about that is because microtransactions. Buying card packs in Mass Effect games, the multiplayer, is the same reason we added packs to Mass Effect 3. How do you get people to keep coming back to a thing instead of just playing it for 60 to 100 hours? According to Hare, microtransactions have become one of the publisher's primary concerns thanks to the sheer amount of money they can bring in. You need to understand, the amount of money that's at play with microtransactions, he said. I'm not allowed to say the number, but I can tell you that when Mass Effect 3's multiplayer came out, those card packs were selling. The amount of money we made just off those card packs was so significant. That's the reason Dragon Age had multiplayer. That's the reason other EA products started to get multiplayer that hadn't really had them before, because we nailed it and brought in a ton of money. He also said that he's seen people literally spend $15,000 on Mass Effect multiplayer cards. If EA is looking at Destiny and Destiny 2, what are they seeing? Well, they're seeing that a half-baked game can be rushed to market and that people will buy loads and loads and loads of cosmetic items and DLC, and then wait for years for the game to be in a state that is considered mostly complete. Kind of like all these games that never seem to actually get out of beta. Now, what does EA and BioWare and Anthem do? Do they push for quality? Do they look to beat Destiny by just being the better game, which wouldn't be hard to do? Or do they try to slide by because, you know what, hey, fuck it, Destiny did it. After all, there is already a built-in fan base that likes this sort of RPG, not RPG, shooter, MMO, but not really an MMO kind of game. And they are already trained to make apologies for the deficiencies of the game being incomplete, unfinished, and unpolished. Who knows? What I do know is, every time that EA and BioWare publish a game together, it seems like the gods of gaming flip a coin, and it will either be good or it will be bad. There is no just, you know what, that was okay. Nope, good or bad. But, like always, those are just my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guardians of all ages. Let me know yours in the comments below, and like always, stay frosty.